What happens when you trust someone blindly? They teach you why you shouldn't. I trusted him blindly, gave him loyalty, silence, and the benefit of every doubt. He broke it without a second thought. Now I'm just left questioning everything, especially myself. The first time I saw Liam, he was arguing with a barista over the precise temperature of his latte. A ridiculous theatrical performance that made the entire line snicker. His dark hair fell over bright, almost predatory green eyes, and a charming, crooked smile played on his lips, even as he feigned outrage. I found myself laughing, a quick, involuntary sound, and his gaze snapped to mine. That was it. One look. One shared laugh. The world, for a moment, tilted on its axis, and I fell. Hard. He was everything I never knew I wanted. Adventurous, witty, passionate. Our early days were a blur of late-night talks, spontaneous road trips, and stolen kisses under star-dusted skies. He spoke of a future with such conviction, painting vibrant pictures of us traveling the world, building a home, raising a family. He was a struggling artist, he'd told me, trying to make ends meet, pouring his soul into his canvases. I admired his dedication, his spirit. My own life, stable and predictable, felt dull in comparison. He was the splash of color I craved. You're my muse, Alara, he'd whisper, his fingers tracing the curve of my spine, sending shivers through me. My inspiration. Without you, the canvas is just blank. I believed him. Every word. My best friend Chloe was less convinced. He's too good to be true, Alara, she'd said, stirring her coffee with a suspicious clink. Her eyes, usually sparkling with mischief, were narrowed. Doesn't it bother you that he's always just about to close a big deal, but never does? Or that his phone is always on silent when you're around? Oh, Chloe, don't be such a cynic, I'd waved her off, a flush of annoyance rising. He's an artist. He's sensitive. He needs his privacy, and the deals take time. You just don't understand the creative world. She'd hummed, a low, skeptical sound. Or maybe I understand. People a little too well. Just be careful, okay? You trust too easily. I dismissed her concerns as jealousy, as the typical protectiveness of a friend who saw me falling head over heels for someone she hadn't vetted herself. I had always been an optimist, a believer in the inherent good of people. Liam, with his earnest eyes and gentle touch, only reinforced that belief. Our relationship deepened quickly. We moved in together, a small, sun-drenched apartment overlooking the city. He'd cook elaborate meals, humming old jazz tunes off-key as he chopped vegetables. And I'd watch him, my heart swelling with a warmth I'd never known. He started talking about a new venture, a gallery opening in a prime downtown location. It was a massive undertaking, he explained, requiring significant capital. He was securing investors, but he needed a substantial personal contribution to show his commitment. It's a sure thing, Alara, he'd said one evening, his hand resting warmly on my thigh. The city lights twinkled outside our window, mirroring the ambition in his eyes. This is it, our big break, financial freedom we can finally buy. That little cottage by the sea we talked about. How much? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. My savings, meticulously built over a decade of careful budgeting, were substantial. They were for a down payment on a house for security. Just $50,000, he'd said, his voice smooth as silk. A bridging loan, really. I'll pay you back with interest as soon as the gallery opens. Think of it as investing. In our future. Our future. My stomach churned, a knot of apprehension tightening in my gut. 50,000, it was everything. But his gaze was so earnest, so full of promise. He was looking at me as if I held the key to his dreams, to our dreams. How could I say no? How could I doubt the man who had shown me such profound love? Okay, I breathed, the word a leap of faith into the unknown. Okay, Liam, I trust you. A wide, triumphant smile spread across his face. He pulled me into a fierce hug, pressing kisses to my hair, my forehead, my lips. You won't regret this, my love. Die. The money transferred, a single, irreversible click. For a few weeks, everything was euphoric. He was constantly on the phone, talking about architects and contractors, about art acquisitions and promotional events. He'd come home buzzing with excitement, sharing snippets of conversations, making me feel like an integral part of his grand vision. Then, slowly, subtly, things began to shift. He started coming home later. His phone calls became hushed, often taken in the other room. The jazz humming stopped. He grew distant. His eyes often glazed over with a preoccupied air. When I asked about the gallery, he'd offer vague assurances or snap that I needed to trust him, that I was distracting him from crucial work. "Liam, what's going on?" I asked one night, finding him staring blankly at the television, which was off. The silence in the apartment was deafening. "You're barely here. You're not talking to me. Is something wrong with the gallery?" He sighed. A long, drawn-out sound of exasperation. "It's just complicated, Alara. More complicated than I thought. Business is tough. You wouldn't understand. Try me," I pleaded, reaching for his hand. He flinched away. "I gave you my life savings, Liam. I deserve to understand." "It's fine," he barked, standing abruptly. "Just give me some space, okay? I'm under a lot of pressure." That night I couldn't sleep. The knot in my stomach had tightened into a hard, painful lump. The next morning, I woke to an empty bed. His side was cold. I found a note on the kitchen counter, hastily scrawled. "Had to go out of town for a few days. Urgent business. Don't worry. Love you." A few days turned into a week. A week turned into 2. His phone went straight to voicemail. My calls became desperate, then frantic. I called Chloe, my voice trembling. "He's gone, Chloe," I choked out, tears finally blurring my vision. "He just left with the money." "Oh, Alara." Her voice was soft, laced with a familiar sorrow. "I'm so sorry." I knew it. I just knew it. The silence on the other end of the line was heavy, filled with unspoken regret and the bitter taste of "I told you so." I spent days in a haze, the apartment feeling like a tomb. Every shadow seemed to mock me, every silence screamed his name. I tried the gallery address he'd given me. It was a vacant lot overgrown with weeds, a for-lease sign flapping forlornly in the wind. A cold, hard dread settled in my bones. One afternoon, a sharp knock-knock, K-N-O-C-K, rattled the door. I opened it to find a stern-faced woman in a tailored suit, flanked by 2 burly men. "Alara Vance?" she asked, her voice clipped. "Yes," I whispered, my heart hammering against my ribs. "We're here to repossess the property," she stated, her eyes scanning the apartment. "Mr. Liam Maxwell defaulted on his lease agreement. You're listed as a co-tenant and the primary guarantor for the last 3 months' rent." My mind reeled. "What? No, I'm not. I didn't sign anything like that." "We have your signature right here, Ms. Vance," she said, holding up a document. My name, in my own handwriting, stared back at me, except it wasn't. It was a perfect forgery, a chillingly accurate rendition of my signature. And this apartment was used as collateral for a number of his ventures. "You need to vacate the premises within 24 hours, the world spun. "Not just my savings, but my home. It's my sanctuary." He hadn't just stolen my money. He'd stolen my identity, my future, my very sense of security. The betrayal hit me with the force of a physical blow, leaving me gasping for air. I screamed, a raw, guttural sound torn from my throat. "No, this can't be happening." The men began moving through the apartment, their movements efficient, impersonal. They didn't care about my shattered dreams, my broken trust. They were just doing their job. I collapsed onto the floor, the cold linoleum biting into my skin. Tears streamed down my face, hot and stinging. I wasn't crying for the money, or even just the apartment. I was crying for the naive girl who had loved so blindly, who had given her entire self to a mirage. The laughter, the promises, the intimate whispers, all of it a meticulously crafted lie. Chloe found me there, hours later, curled. In a fetal position amidst the growing emptiness of my home. She didn't say "I told you so." She just knelt beside me, pulling me into a tight embrace. "Oh, honey," she murmured, her voice thick with sorrow. "It's going to be okay. We'll get through this." Not then. The silence of the apartment. once filled with Liam's off-key hums and the imagined echoes of our future, now screamed with emptiness. The betrayal was a gaping wound, festering and raw. It took months to untangle the mess Liam had left behind. The police were sympathetic, but offered little hope. He was a professional con artist, they said, leaving a trail of broken hearts. In empty bank accounts across several states, my signature was a masterful forgery, almost impossible to disprove without significant legal battles I couldn't afford. The apartment was lost. My savings gone. I moved in with Chloe. My pride shattered, my spirit a hollow echo. Every time the phone rang, I flinched. Every kind word from a stranger felt like a veiled threat. Trust, once so freely given, became a luxury I could no longer afford. I saw Liam's face everywhere, in the man ordering coffee, in the fleeting glimpse of a stranger's smile. Each time, a sharp, cold jab of pain. One evening, as I was mindlessly scrolling through an old photo album, a picture of Liam and me, laughing, vibrant, caught my eye. A wave of nausea washed over me. I wanted to tear it, burn it, erase every trace of him. But then something shifted. A different kind of anger, cold and steady, began to simmer. He took my money. He took my home. He took my trust. But he wouldn't take my future. I'm going to get my life back, I told Chloe, my voice raspy but firm. She looked at me, her eyes wide. Good, it's about damn time. The healing was slow, agonizing. I started with small steps. I got a second job, working late nights to rebuild my savings, dollar by painful dollar. Started going to therapy, slowly unraveling the tangled knot of betrayal and self-blame. I learned about gaslighting, about manipulation, about the red flags I had so willfully ignored. I started seeing my own naivete not as a weakness, but as a lesson. A brutal, expensive lesson, but a lesson nonetheless. The laughter, when it finally came, felt alien on my tongue. Small, tentative giggle at a silly joke Chloe made. Then, a fuller, richer peal, echoing in the quiet apartment. It wasn't the carefree laughter of the girl who fell for Liam, but the resilient laughter of a woman who had survived. Years passed. The wound never fully disappeared, but it scarred over. A thin, silver line, reminding me of the past. I didn't fall in love again quickly. I was cautious, watchful, my heart encased in a protective shell. But I learned to distinguish genuine kindness from manipulative charm. I learned to listen to my gut, to Chloe's skeptical hums, to the quiet whispers of doubt that I had once silenced. One day I received a letter. It was from a law firm announcing that Liam Maxwell had been apprehended in another state, charged with multiple counts of fraud. A small portion of his ill-gotten gains had been recovered, and I was entitled to a fractional reimbursement. It was a pittance compared to what I'd lost, but it wasn't about the money. It was about justice. A quiet, satisfying click. I looked at the check, then at the photo of Liam and me. This time, there was no nausea, no searing pain, just a quiet understanding. He had stolen from me, yes, but he had also, inadvertently, given me something invaluable, the wisdom that comes from shattered trust. I thought of the lesson I had learned, etched into my very being. Trust is earned, not given blindly. It's built brick by brick, through consistent actions, through transparency, through shared vulnerability. And when those bricks crumble, when the foundation cracks, the ensuing devastation is a testament to the weight of what was placed upon it. I had trusted blindly, and the fall had been catastrophic. But I had also learned to pick myself up, to rebuild, stronger and wiser than before. The world, I realized, was full of beautiful things. And while some people might try to steal them, they couldn't steal the lessons you learned along the way. I hummed a quiet, hopeful tune, a melody of resilience, as I walked away from the past. Towards a future I was now building, brick by painful, precious brick, all on my own.